The thing that I think is corny is the fact that he's trying to guilt trip people into being his fans and to coming to his shows and to laughing for him and giving them his money. I think that's the cringe part. Like, you're telling fake stories to make people feel sorry for you, to make them think that you're a victim and you have it hard, so that they will give you money. It's like you're scamming your fans.
Subscribe to this channel. In case you are watching this channel, I have not subscribed.
And then I told the guy, those aren't my kids. Those are chicken nuggets.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Guys, today we're going to talk about comedy. You've all probably seen a comedian, watched a stand-up special, or a comedy film, and for the most part, you know how it goes. The comedian takes the stage, and hopefully they take you on a journey. They share parts of their lives, funny moments, the highs, the lows, even vulnerable moments. And for about an hour or so, you laugh a lot, you maybe cry a little, you ask yourself, is this person embellishing their stories? Is any of this really even true? But what happens when a comedian becomes one of the most famous in the space by telling stories of racial discrimination that he's faced, and it turns out that he's been lying about it all? Today we're going to talk about the recently exposed Hassan Minaj, the Jussie Smollett hate hoaxer of comedy.
I haven't liked him since the first time I seen him on Netflix. I gave him a chance and I had to tune out. It's like a fucking TED Talk. There was nothing funny about it at all. Like, it was like a joke every 5 minutes. Like, there was nothing funny about the shit. He was just telling some people some pity stories, trying to tell people how fucking terrible it is for this and that or this and that. And at the very end, he says something fucking stupid, and then the crowd would chuckle. I hate that type of comedy, man. I've been having to peel off from comedy a little bit because that's what most of the fucking new comedians do. Unless it's like Joe Rogan or Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, fucking... the greats, you know, the OGs, not the OGs, but like the motherfuckers like 40, 50 years old, Louis C.K., Andrew Schultz, kind of. I'm not really a big fan of him, but he's funny here and there. Matt Rife, like, there's a bunch of comedians that are actually funny, but it just seems like this fucking new group that's kind of like being pushed by Netflix is just so damn cringe.
Now, you guys might know of Hassan Minaj. He's done stand-up at that White House Correspondents' Dinner a few times. He's been a regular on The Daily Show, and he also has several very successful stand-up comedy sets on Netflix. And as I said before, much of his work revolves around racism that he has faced throughout his life. It informs his politics, which he also shares throughout his comedy specials, and the stories that Hassan Minaj shares as he takes you through a journey during his comedy specials are heartbreaking, to say the least. But through a little journalistic sleuthing, it has been found that Hassan Minaj has been lying.
The only person I've heard do a decent comedy special, which I honestly wasn't that big of a fan of, but it was entertaining to me, was Neil Brennan. He had this whole special to where he was talking about his depression and anxiety and shit, and like, I don't know, I get it. Like, it's something that he has to go through, and you gotta find the funny and the hurt. Like, I get it, but it's just I don't really like that whole fucking victim shit, man. At least in a comedy set. Like, I don't really like hearing about how fucking tough people got it whenever they really don't got it that tough. I mean, yeah, you might have some shit. They might have gone through some shit, but bro, compared to fucking what people in Africa or Russia or Ukraine or fucking like, a lot of the Middle East, like there's so many fucking places in the world where people are dying from bombs or from lions walking into their shit or from like anything, and yet we're over here crying because fucking we grew up without a daddy. Like, man, I don't know, there's fucking kids all over the world just getting taken away from their whole family and being put as to be soldiers to go kill people. Like, I just think it's fucking really pathetic when people complain about how hard they have it. Unless you're just trying, I don't really know. There are sometimes like there's some instances where I understand it, but usually it's just cringe as hell to me.
About the racism that he has faced throughout his life. What a massive surprise. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Hassan's work, we're gonna go through just a couple of the stories that he has lied about during his comedy specials. And trust me, there are many more. Feel free to look it up and read through it, especially if you are a fan of this comedian. In The King's Jester, a comedy special put out in 2022, Hassan tells the story of being sent a white powder in the mail. Now, he and his wife believed this powder to be anthrax, and apparently, in his retelling, he opens an envelope and the white powder spills all over his toddler daughter. Of course, he and his wife freak out. They immediately rush their daughter to the hospital, and she turns out to be okay. Now, he claims that this was targeted harassment based on his political work and some of the views that he espouses on TV and through his comedy sets. But a journalist by the name of Claire Malone decided maybe she should look into this story. She started talking to doormen, security personnel, the guards for Hassan Minaj, even went as far as to look up hospital records and talk to the New York Police Department team that is responsible for investigating anthrax. And what she found was nothing. There was in fact no evidence found that this incident ever took place. And Malone got the chance to press Hassan on this story, where he admitted that it never actually happened. However, he stands by the story of getting white powder sent in the mail. He simply never alerted anybody, including his security team, to the white powder being received. In his comedy special Homecoming King, Hassan tells a heartbreaking story of asking a white girl to go to prom. The white girl accepts his invitation, but he comes to find when he shows up to her house on the night of prom that she's decided to go with a white boy instead, and that her parents didn't want her to be seen in prom photos with a South Asian boy. Now, surprisingly, the story wasn't true either. The woman in question, who was meant to go to prom with Hassan Minaj, in fact, rejected him far before the prom ever happened and claimed that they were actually very good friends. And it gets worse, because Hassan Minaj even pulled a stunt where he invited this woman and her husband to come and see his comedy special off-Broadway and did very little to cover up their identities. He even projected blurry pictures of her and her husband onto a screen so that the audience could see who they were. This led to her being—
There is no way that he did not do that shit to be spiteful. Like, he wanted some revenge for him being embarrassed that he got friend zoned. Like, there is no way that it was all in good fun for him to do that.
Doxed and harassed for years. She even went and approached Hassan about it to let him know what was happening, and he dismissed it, according to her account. And as I said before, he has many other moments of embellished or completely fabricated moments of racial discrimination within his comedy sets. And you want to hear the kicker? When Hassan Minaj is confronted with his lies and asked why he does them and how he can defend lying like this on stage, he says that he does it because his lies reflect emotional truths that need to be addressed. He believes that it doesn't matter whether or not the stories that he tells in his comedy special are true, as long as the audience leaves with his political agenda and a feeling that racial discrimination is an emotional truth here in this country. And many have come to his defense, including comedian and now co-host on The View, Whoopi Goldberg.
Having to defend his comedy because a writer from the New Yorker called him out for making up stories. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Whoopi states that—
See, I don't like that. I know that some comics do that shit, and I get it. Like, if you want to bend the truth a little bit to make it more funny, like, yeah, that's cool. But like fucking Kevin Hart's, not his last special, but his special to where he was talking about a fucking raccoon walked up to his shit and was like bang bang, and that whole comedy special just seemed like fucking just all made up shit, like he just wrote it from a Hollywood script. I hate comedy like that. Like, at least make it fucking seem true, or at least like take it from some type of truth. I hate the fucking fake stories and shit, unless it's like Anthony Jeselnik or someone that's obviously like making very, very dark humor and is trying to like get you like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Like that shit I respect, because that shit is gotta be the hardest thing to do. To say the most horrendous shit and get the whole place laughing, that's talent, man. Making up some victim story to make people feel sorry for you and getting guilty laughs is pathetic to me.
Simply what comedians do. Comedians are known for embellishing, and the audience is completely aware that they do exactly that. In fact, when you go to see a comedian, you shouldn't expect very much truth in their story, because the embellishment is what makes it interesting. It's what makes it funny. It's what keeps you hanging on. And you know, in some way, I agree with Whoopi Goldberg, but it is far different when you are using completely embellished and fabricated stories to push forward a political agenda rather than to push forward a joke. And I feel as though nobody says it better than a girl named Kirby, who I found on TikTok talking about Hassan Minaj and this big story.
There's a very frustrating conversation happening right now about comedians are allowed to lie. Comedians are supposed to lie. You should go to a comedy show expecting them to lie to you and to exaggerate. And to a certain degree, I absolutely agree. When you go to a comedy show, you do enter into a social contract where you know they're going to lie and they're going to exaggerate, and that's fine when they're doing it for the purposes of a joke. Hassan Minaj isn't lying to make his jokes land. He's lying to make his political commentary land, because his comedy specials are half comedy and half political commentary, and you're allowed,
I'd say, a quarter comedy, if that.
to lie for the joke part. We agree to that. That does not feel deceptive. But when you lie about the political side and you lie about these actual experiences that happen to you, not to make people laugh, but to make them feel sorry for you, that's not the same thing. And it's not unreasonable to feel deceived or to feel tricked that he did this.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It is far different to embellish a story on the basis of comedy than it is to embellish a story on the basis of a political agenda, or convincing your audience that this world is far more racist than it actually is. We have enough racial tension in this country without it being fueled by the little comedian boy who cried wolf. And of course, there will be instances of white people being racist towards people of color. It does, in fact, happen on the individual basis. But what I'm more so talking about is this racial tension that is fueled by stories of discrimination like this. The hate crime hoaxers, the people who make up racist white people in their heads, because the demand for racism is far bigger than the supply. And what Hassan Minaj is doing throughout his comedy specials is refueling a narrative that does not need to be refueled. He is, in fact, injecting racial animosity and tension into the broader culture by lying about instances of racial discrimination. And I don't know if he's come to terms with the fact that what he's doing is actually harming people of color. But
he would not be nowhere near as big as he is without this type of strategy that he's using. And honestly, the thing that's fucking annoying is that he's probably gonna, he's gonna definitely lose fans for this being known, but I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near as many fans as he gains from people just supporting him because they see him being attacked as a person of color. Like, it's just fucking, the amount of virtue that he's gonna receive as support is gonna be way greater than what he loses for people that realize, like, oh, this motherfucker's a hoax.
happens when people of color actually experience instances of racial discrimination at the hands of another person? What happens when they come forward to share these stories or to get justice based on what they've experienced? If we live in a world full of hate crime hoaxers like Hassan Minaj and Jussie Smollett and Zaina Bryant, the girl we covered in a video earlier this week, no one is to be believed when they actually face real racism and discrimination. But you all understand that. And I think what's happening here is that people on the left and right are upset at Hassan Minaj for pushing forward these lies, as they should be, because it hurts us all. It hurts our whole society and our entire culture. But what it's pointed out is something very interesting. It is trendy to be a victim. You get placed in the right rooms when you are a victim. When you claim a marginalized status, you can rise up the hierarchy faster than anybody else. And that's exactly what Hassan Minaj has done. As I said at the beginning of this video, he's hosted White House Correspondents' Dinner with some of the highest elites in this country. He's been featured on The Daily Show more times than I can count. And he's got several very, very successful Netflix comedy specials. And all on the basis of him being a victim. And as much as he uses his time on stage to cry about the victimization that he's faced through in his life, he sure is getting a lot of money and success based on those fabricated stories. You interpret that as you will. I think we're all coming to terms with the fact that the demand for racism is much larger than the supply. So why not become a supplier, even though your stories are embellished and fabricated? Why not build up a whole hoax that you can sell to people? Because they're all looking for the narrative. They all want to reinforce their beliefs. And Hassan Minaj may do comedy to push the envelope a little bit and drive home his political agenda, but I think even more so than that, he does it for clapter from an audience who already agrees with everything that he believes. And funny enough, he's a contender to replace Trevor Noah on The Daily Show, which would put him in the same league as the Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallons, Jimmy Kimmels, and Stephen Colbert's, which, you know what, if you ask me, it's exactly where he belongs.
Right.
Because,
I was about to say, do they even have credibility anymore? Before, probably like 5 years ago, maybe. No, it was like around the start of COVID. I got really just into that, just watching the late night show. It popped up almost always on my recommended. It was always something that seemed was clickbaity, so I clicked on it. It was only like 10 minutes long. And I really got like stuck in that rabbit hole, man. I really got stuck into this fucking victim mentality of what everybody else is in. And it took, what did it take? Oh, it took COVID. So it was a little bit before COVID. Because I was, I guess even with the Black Lives Matter and shit, like I obviously understood, like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, this police brutality is getting out of hand and police need to be trained more strictly, and there needs to be like mental evaluations into the shit. But I was never the defund the police type guy. I was never the fucking white lives don't matter because black lives are the only ones that matter right now. Like, I was never like that. But I did kind of get stuck in this like little fucking hole of just believing whatever I saw on Facebook and the media. And it was around COVID whenever I like just ramped the fuck up like crazy. And then you had to believe every single thing. And then once the vaccine came out, that's whenever I realized like, okay, there's something going on right now. Cause they're trying to bribe people to get the vaccine. They're trying, like they went from, you don't need to get it to, well, they try to bribe my girl. She worked for the CDC from home on a COVID unit. She worked from home and they tried to bribe her and said that they would give her $100 extra on her paycheck if she got the vaccine. I was like, oh no, that's wrong. It's when has the government ever gave a fuck enough about us to give us some money to get a vaccine? Like what? It just seemed weird as fuck to me. And then probably like 2 or 3 months later, they sent her an email talking about, yo, if you don't get it, we're gonna have to let you go. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, there's something definitely going on. You work from home. Why do they care if you get the vaccine or not? Like they're just crazy. And they went all the way to my girl was pregnant at the time and we was going to the doctor's office and they was trying to guilt trip us into having the vaccine so that she doesn't miscarry, because if she got COVID then she might miscarry. Like, bro, we was really that is the one that almost got us, because it was like, man, now we're just, should we just trust our gut or should we trust the professional or what? Like, if we trust our gut and we're wrong, we're gonna blame ourselves forever. But if we trust the nurse and it's wrong, then it's our fault still. Like, and we decided not to do it anyways, and I thank God that we didn't. It was just crazy to me, and that was like the final straw to where I realized, like, okay, yeah, I'm not trusting shit without doing some research. I'm not trusting shit without fucking trying to find out what the opposite side says, or like, I don't know. I became real skeptical, and I think that's how most people are becoming nowadays, and that's why I would assume that the shows like the late night shows was, I mean, they're already falling off, but I would assume that they would lose all credibility altogether. And I don't see why Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or all those people even stay there when they know like they're just they're on a burning ship just waiting to go down.
All the late night hosts do the exact same thing. They play the same fiddle with their same woke leftist agenda to the same audience that agrees with everything they say, and they care not about the polarization that they create within this country. And we'll close out this video with a little message to Hassan Minaj himself. You have done a great disservice to white people in telling these lies. You have done a great disservice to the art that is comedy in telling these lies. And you have done a great disservice to society in general by being the boy who cried wolf on this. The truth is that you've experienced so little racism in your time here on this earth that you had to make it up in order to reinforce your own narrative. Might not be an emotional truth, which I believe you're used to, but it is the truth. But guys, let me know how you feel in the comments down below. Is it totally okay for comedians to embellish stories like this? I can understand it in a joke, but when you're trying to push a political agenda, it rubs me the wrong way. Let me know how you feel. As always, I encourage healthy debate, so duke it out in the comments, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And
the political agenda isn't really the problem with me. I mean, it's kind of like corny, but it's like everything is like that nowadays. The thing that I think is corny is the fact that he's trying to guilt trip people into being his fans and to coming to his shows and to laughing for him and giving them his money. I think that's the cringe part. Like, you're telling fake stories to make people feel sorry for you, to make them think that you're a victim and you have it hard, so that they will give you money. It's like you're scamming your fans. That's exactly how I see it. But anyways, that's gonna be the end of that video. Please leave a like. If you've got anything to say about the video, let me know down below. You know I read every single comment. And if you fuck with your boy, will you please give me a subscription? With that said, deuces.
Probably catch a PV, probably tell me drop, little nigga come see me. Little niggas watch me like I'm TV. I'm a heavy hitter, you little niggas pee-wees. Drive right past, act like I don't see him. I know we telling, don't know why we beefing. 40 stripping naked like that nigga streaking. Real niggas talking, don't know why you speaking. Yeah, real niggas all in the room. It's just me, Blake Taz.